Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of My Story. We're going to get right into it. This week's My Story is on growing up, which is something that a lot of people in this world at some point, well, actually everybody at some point, has to learn how to do. And it can be very hard to actually learn how to leave some of that stuff behind. But it's okay to kind of still have that child inside of you. Because I'll be honest, I still do have a little bit of child still left inside of me. But at some point, you do have to kind of grow up and let go of some of the things that you might have had when you were little. And that can be very hard. And some of the things that you used to do when you were little. For example, when I was little, um, I used to be more attached to like my mom than I am now. I mean, I still do care about my mom very much. I love her to death. But at some point when you grow up, it's kind of like you want to be more independent and you want to do more things by yourself. And that's kind of what this is going to be about. So when I was little, I was always pretty much having my mom kind of do a lot of things for me. Um, and today she still does do a lot of things for me, and I appreciate that. Um, but at some point in my life, it was like, okay, well, I'm able to do some of this stuff for myself now, and I want to do it by myself now. And I mean, there's some times where your mom will still do things for you. I mean, that's just moms and parents, anyways. But for example, like learning how to cook or whatever like that. I learned how to cook at the age of 13. It's when I actually started to cook a lot of things by myself. I can pretty much make just about anything now. Um, of course, there's still some times where I'd rather just, okay, mom, can you make me this or something like that? Just because, I mean, we've all had those days where it's like, I don't feel like cooking. Mom, can you cook or someone else cook? And most of the time, my mom will. I mean, my mom's always kind of been there for me, and that's what's truly uh, amazing. But also, growing up can be the way you act, and when you were younger, and versus the way you are now. Like when I was younger, I was very uh, hyper. I want to say. I guess that's kind of the best word. I was kind of more so like hyper and wanted to pretty much do everything alone, but I wanted to be more hyper and I would get up, run around more and stuff like that. And as I got older, I mean, I still wish I would have a lot of that energy that I used to when I was younger. But now when you grow older, it's kind of like, okay, well, you still have energy to do things. It's just, you have kind of that less, like, you don't really have that much power to run around as long as you used to when you were little. Um, and when you get older, it's kind of like you get more into different things in your life than what you did when you were little. Like some of the knickknacks and toys and that you used to have when you were little, you might not even have anymore. Or you might just use it as a collectibles item. I'll be honest, I still to this day collect action figures from wrestling, but I've collected them since I was little. Now, when I was little, the first thing I wanted to do was open them up and keep them and open them up and wrestle with them and all that and the other thing. Now I just buy them to keep them on the wall. In the background there, you might actually see Baron Corbin action figure, but I have others as well. I mean, it's quite different. I mean, when you grow up, a lot of things change, and you have to get ready for that. I mean, change is very hard for me myself, but when you grow up, it's something that kind of has to happen, and your body will change. You will learn more things about yourself that you never really understood before. Like you could be doing things and you might not like it, but when you get older, that might change. Like for example, some of the foods that you ate when you were younger, you might not like when you're older, or vice versa. I mean, you don't like something when you were younger and like it now. Like for example, with me, growing when I was younger, I used to love cream corn, and now I can't stand it. I don't like it. I just something about me. I mean, growing up can change a lot. Um, when you grow up, it's very difficult to comprehend in your brain. Um, especially when it comes to the time when you move from middle school to high school. Um, when I did that, I was in cyber school, so it was a little bit different for me. But when I took that transition, I knew it was going to be a little bit tougher in high school. But I didn't expect me to actually do as well as I did. Be honest with you, I think I actually did better in high school than I did in middle school. Because when I was in middle school, I think I was more so worried about, okay, I'm not really worried about this. This isn't really going to matter later on down the line, stuff like that. But when I went into high school, I'm like, okay, that's when I kind of realized that I kind of grew up a little bit and said, okay, school is important, and I have to worry about these grades. I have to worry about doing these stuff. And for example, my last like 2 or 3 years of high school that I was in, my 11th and 12th grade, to be specific, was when I was really starting to worry about my grades and focus. Not because I was bad in school. It was just because that's something that around those times you really do literally have to worry about a lot of your grades, and you have to worry about, am I passing? Am I getting enough credits to graduate? And that's something, honestly, I didn't think I was ever going to do. And if I was younger at the time when I graduated, I probably wouldn't have. But at some point, it was like something clicked in my brain, like, you gotta switch your head, you gotta grow up a little bit in your head to know that you are going to have to step it up in a way. And also, when after high school, I kind of even now, you still kind of gotta learn what you really want to do. I mean, I've had dreams about doing various things in my life, and those dreams are still very much alive. But I have to really sit down and think about truly what I want to do. I mean, because now that I'm legally an adult, you have to do things that when you were little you might not have to do. For example, like, you'll get more in depth with your own things, like you are in charge of your own self more. Your parents really can't do much for you. They can help you, but they can't really have the final say. Like, for example, if you are seeking out help from like counseling or whatever, or you have to go to the doctor's office for some reason, they're going to ask you more so questions about yourself than your parents, because you are considered an adult, and that's something that growing up comes up with. In some cases that's good. In some cases that's quite scary as well. Like, when I first went to the doctor when I turned 18, it was a little scary. Because I still had to kind of do the same things by myself. Of course, my mom was there to help me because she was so used to doing it for us. But at some point it was like, okay, I need to learn how to do this by myself, and that's something that's very hard to do. And so that's what some of my stories about gradually growing up as the years went on, which obviously is very hard, and it's something that everybody had to go through at some point in your life. And if you ever need any advice, maybe ask an adult, a friend or something like that that's an adult that really could maybe give you some guidance about where to go. And when I had my graduation party, I had these things that I printed out that were kind of people giving me guidance on what's to come in the future years after high school. And I still have a lot of them. And I kept and read all of them. My family gave me a lot of advice for what is to be expected as an adult, and what I can expect to happen as an adult, because you're not that child anymore that can pretty much be held on to by your parents or whomever. You have to kind of worry about yourself and worry about others as well, but you have to make sure that you're safe for yourself. And that's pretty much going to end this out. Next week's my story will be on Pitbull Love, which is pretty much about pit bulls, and my story is about having pit bulls. because they do get a bad rap a lot, and I wanted to kind of shed my light on that or not. Anyways, have a great day. Peace. Thank you guys for watching.